You found a place to belong here in the Circle of Friends. I'm Missy, and I'm with Gwen today. And Gwen, you brought somebody special to the table.
I did. I have been trying to get her here for a long time, but this morning I succeeded.
Yay!
This is my best friend, Gloria Miller, Connor. And yeah, I knew you as Gloria Miller in high school, and my brain just went there because I'm thinking through all of our high school memories and the green bean and, all that fun stuff. So she is probably one of my longest running friendships, and it has just been sweet to see what God has done over the years through her. So, Glory, I'm so glad you're here with us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank
It's
you.
a joy and a delight to have you here. And I think the really cool thing about this is sometimes now I'm much older than you guys, so I may have longer friendships than you have, but long-term friendships bring something to us that's just so sweet, and I think it's sweeter the older you get. For me, at my age, it's like having somebody that remembers me as that young teenager. You guys aren't quite there yet, but
No, we've had some moments.
yeah, you appreciate somebody not seeing you as for me, a white-haired old lady with 11 grandkids and that, like, oh, you were a young girl once. Yeah, so when I reconnect with high school friends that I haven't seen for a long, long time. The memories are especially sweet because we connect on a different kind of a level. Yeah. Like we see each other not as like old people, but those young friends with all of our dreams and hopes ahead of us, and all the fun that we had and all the connections that we made. Yeah. So those and the long term friends. I mean, friends are sweet regardless, and God gives us that blessing. But the long term friends, I think. I've always felt it's so wonderful to have a friend that you just don't have to explain things to. You don't have to give any backstory to.
Right. Yeah.
They just kind of get you.
Right.
Like, you just can say, pray for me today. This is, or a word or two or something, and they're right there with you, and they get the whole backstory of your life, your family, your experience, all of that. Yeah, I can see it. Yeah. If we were on TV, you'd see the look going across the table right now. And that's exactly what the blessing of that is, I think.
And to be able to just be real and not have to worry about how you're sounding or, there's no posturing and masking with long-term friendships.
No presentation.
Right. You just are who you are, and it just sometimes all hangs out.
Yeah, it does. You're right.
That's awesome. I mean, that is awesome to have somebody that you don't have to worry about or worry with. But, it does make me think of a number of different scripture verses. But I really believe that this is a gift from the Lord, and it's something that we should open ourselves up to. For some people, it's very easy to make friends. For others, it's maybe a little bit harder. And this isn't a matter of you need to have this many friends. You just need to be open to that, because I think the Lord wants to bring that blessing into your life.
And the one thing I've learned over the years is that old friendships can be made closer.
Yes.
Because we weren't always as close as what we were. I mean,
right. I think we grew closer over the years.
I think
honestly.
So too. Like, I think we got more authentic and real
we did.
with each other.
Yeah.
Well, and the more you experience, the deeper the relationship goes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think even in our relationship with the Lord, the longer you're with Him and walk with Him, the more you know about Him.
That's true.
And the more you are really vulnerable with Him and share yourself with Him. It works in the same kind of way on a spiritual level.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I love this verse in John 15:15 where Jesus is speaking, and he says, well, I'll start with verse 12. This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. Greater love has no one than this, than to lay down one's life for his friends. You are my friends if you do whatever I command you. If you do whatever I command you. No longer do I call you servants, for a servant does not know what his master is doing. But I have called you friends, for all things that I heard from my Father I have made known to you. You did not choose me, but I chose you, and appointed you that you should go and bear fruit, and that your fruit should remain, that whatever you ask the Father in my name, He may give you. I mean, the passage goes on, but isn't that a beautiful passage of what Jesus has given to us through His, I'm putting His friendship in quotes, but think about that, friendship with the Son of God. Right. That's like mind-blowing. I don't even think you can wrap your mind around that. But that's really what He's saying, is He wants that kind of an intimate relationship with us. Incredible.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I love that. And Missy, as we're talking about kind of spiritual things, the one thing I think that caused us to go such a deep friendship that kind of had a foundation that could grow from is we got together one summer and did Romans. And we walked through Romans together while I was home. Because I was in college, and so I'd go away for part of the year. But we did that one summer, and that was awesome.
That was awesome. I think Leah was just a baby.
I think she was a baby.
Yeah.
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 And so, I mean, it just was a really sweet time of getting in the Word together and just learning and growing
Yeah.
together.
Well,
and nothing grounds a friendship deeper than, getting in the Word together or praying together.
I have to absolutely agree with that.
I think that's one thing too that kept us close over the years too,
think
is
so.
that commonality. I don't know if that's
Well, and think about it. What you share with another believer, you both have the Holy Spirit, so you have an automatic connection to begin with. And we should all recognize that. I mean, that's tough when the body of Christ fights, because that it not only grieves the Spirit and the Father, but I think we lose so much in that. But when you connect with another believer, you have the Holy Spirit in common, and it's this friendship it's outside of what the world knows, and it's hard to describe. It really is, but it's a blessing. It's what God has given us. He's given us one another, and He left the Holy Spirit, I think, that's part of His job, is to connect and unify us. And that's an amazing thing, especially, again, the longer the friendship, the sweeter that seems to become, because the more you experience, then, the deeper the roots go into the friendship.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I was just thinking, of just how much, when we talk, we're, talking about how we want to walk our faith out. How much we're talking with each other about that in our lives, how you do that as a nurse, how I do that with life in general, and things. And so we're back and forth doing that kind of thing a lot.
Well, it's an
in our
interesting
conversations.
dynamic, because you're both the same age, but in life circumstance, you really you came to motherhood later than Glory did, right? I'm assuming you have
we
a junior
are.
in high.
Yes. Yeah, we're at different points in
Yeah.
our walk with motherhood at this point in time.
Yeah.
But I mean, we can still come together. And,
Absolutely, but it makes a kind of a unique and wonderful, almost mentoring kind of flip flop there for you guys.
Yeah, it's been kind of fun. I mean, and her husband Steve is just wonderful, and so we have a lot of fun. Just even I'll go over every once in a while, and he'll sit and just talk for hours in the kitchen, and it's just the three of us just chatting.
That's great.
And so that's been some sweet moments too. So
Yeah. Well, I know that when my husband and I were first married, we went to Bible school, and there were a number of couples that we connected with that, the friendships and the things that we went through. I mean, we were in the stage of, early marriage and having babies, and several friends I think there were 3 or 4 of us that lost children, that grieved through that process together. We were struggling with where we were going and God's will and what He wanted us to do, and just those deeper struggles, when you share them in community with one another,
yeah.
it just forges a bond. I could see those people today, and I haven't seen them for 30 years,
Yeah.
and it would be like no time in between us,
Yeah.
because there is that bond.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we had a couple of years where we didn't really talk a lot when I was out of town.
You were in college, I believe.
Well, I was Atlanta and Knoxville.
Correct.
During those years, I
Yes.
don't think we talked a lot, but we reconnected when I came home.
But even when we did reconnect, I feel like
It was sweet.
it was we kind of just started where we left off.
Yeah.
There wasn't any
Yeah.
awkwardness or I don't know. We just
And I think my need for you in my world, you were spiritually right at the right place. You were, where we could connect. You, the one thing I've loved about you, you may not know this, is that you really have a worldview that's consistent with the Word. And so you're consistent. And so, over the years, you look for friends like that. And so you have been one of the constants in my world the longest. And so I think just where you were at in your walk with God, when I came back, we could just pick up because you hadn't neglected your faith at all. Yeah. Your faith had grown over the years. And so I think it just was, It was a God thing.
I think so too, but that was in part too due to you. I mean, iron sharpens iron. Right?
Yes, yes. Let's
Yeah.
look at that verse. That's a great verse. Is that Proverbs 27, 17?
Iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another.
Perfect. Yeah. And that's exactly what happens, isn't it? You do. You sharpen one another. You encourage one another. You build one another up.
Yeah.
You support one another. You all those one another's of the word, you see walked out when you are in relationship with other believers. And some friends you'll have, and you may have them a long time, and they may not go very deep. That's okay too. But look for those one-on-one special, the inner circle, I guess.
I have a name for those, Missy.
Well, you know what? And here's one thing I want to say, because I believe that Jesus modeled that. He had
the
his
intimate three.
Yes, his intimate three. He had the 12. Then he had the larger crowd, and that's kind of how it's designed to be. And friendships may come and go in a season, and that's okay too.
Yeah.
But look for an inner circle. I think.
I call them my soul sisters.
There you go.
And like, this was explained to me as a concept like early, and probably my time in Tennessee, is just that you should have about 3 to 5 really close people that know most of your stuff and your struggles.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that, you should be building and cultivating that, because that's your support team for when the world goes wonky.
Yeah.
Those are the people that walk with you the longest. They're the ones that know the most. And so, like, over the years, as I've moved, I've collected people. And she's like my one that's from here,
That's
from high
awesome.
school. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. Missy, I have another verse that comes to mind, and I think we got a break coming up. So I'm going to read this one right before break, and then we'll take a break. But Proverbs 18:24 says, a man of too many friends comes to ruin, but there is a friend that sticketh closer than a brother. And I think when you find those friendships that are more like sisterhood, I think you hold on to them, and you do what it takes to hold on to those. So we're going to take a break. You found a place to belong, and we'll see you here in a little bit at the table.
What should I wear? Our boutique at the Village Gift Barn has the answers. Arriving daily, our clothing is a delight. You will enjoy our wide variety and the uniqueness of each style. We offer many accessories to complete any outfit. Your answers can be found in our boutique that is never ordinary. Village Gift Barn, Berlin, Ohio.
John Piper once wrote, "The ultimate reason why we are sexual is to make God more deeply knowable." Do you believe that? Do you even know what it means to connect your spirituality with your sexuality? I'm Dr. Julie Slattery from Authentic Intimacy, and I'm coming to the Amish Country Theater in Berlin, Ohio for an all-day women's conference on February 22nd. We'll spend the day talking about God's design for sexuality. So whether you're single or married, 18 or 80, head to AuthenticIntimacy.com/event for your ticket.
Your love is my foundation, your promise the roof over my world. You're my sanctuary, your love is my song to sing, and I want to share it with everyone I know. And wherever I go, my salvation, and I am here to give you honor, Lord. You're all I'm living for. Your love is the strength of my life. I feel it down to the core of who I am.
back here in the Circle of Friends. You're with Missy and Gwen and our new friend, my new friend, Glory, not your new friend, Gwen's old friend, not old friend. Boy, I should just restart this whole thing, shouldn't I?
It's okay.
We're here in the Circle of Friends, and we love each other despite our fumbling around here.
Oh, Missy, Gloria had a thought on break that I loved. And Glory, I'm going to let you just talk about it.
Okay. One thing that I love about my friend Gwen is she is someone who does not agree with me on everything. She challenges me.
And you challenged me right back.
Yeah. Yeah. But I love that about you. I don't feel like, I feel like true friendship, we can disagree with each other in love. And I don't know.
Yeah. No, and we can say hard things.
Yeah.
And we've talked about hard things at times, and I think our friendship has been sweeter for it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's moments where her voice takes a tone and I love it. And I just sit there and I go, okay, I'm getting lectured. I haven't told her that. But, it's one of those things, like you and I were talking the other day, that when you have a friendship like this, you tolerate.
You do. There's grace
Yeah.
involved. Yeah.
Like,
Grace.
there's been moments I know I cut you off and I'm like, darn it, shut up.
Yeah, there's a lot of grace. And I think that should be with any friendship, any relationship,
Yeah.
you have to give grace.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And and you talk about the stuff that you need to talk about, and you forgive what you can let go, and you just, you allow people to be what they are, whether it's imperfect or, struggling or just wherever, you just give them grace to be there.
This makes me think of another couple of verses in Proverbs. From 27, where we were before. Verse 5 says, "Open rebuke is better than love carefully concealed. Faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful."
Yes.
And that's exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah. Because, for example, with her, I'm safe to hear criticism from her. I've given her permission to speak into my world because I can't see myself on the other end. I don't know how I come across.
Oh, and look who just walked into the studio. Hey, Beth, come and join us.
Well, hello. I was finally freed from my prison, so
Okay, now that's going to need some on-air explanation.
That surely does, yeah.
well, we have some work being done on our drive, so I wasn't quite sure how to exit our house today, but I'm very thankful for wonderful neighbors and dry weather, and yeah, I'm here. That's all that matters. That's all that matters.
Well, I'm glad you are, because this conversation about friendship and what that is, and in particular right now, as Gloria's been talking about, her and Gwen, they don't always agree, but how wonderful that is. And I know with accountability groups, this is one thing. You have to have someone that you trust, whose heart you trust, but who can speak truth to you.
Well, and I will tell you, accountability groups, yeah, it was my friends whose heart I trusted who really spoke, I call it the hard truth, into my life. They said things I didn't want to hear, but we're at year 36 of marriage, and I know that my husband and me too would say it was because of those friends who were willing to speak into areas that I really didn't want anything spoken into.
Sure.
But they challenged me, and in challenging me, they not only grew my faith, they helped to strengthen our marriage.
Well, and Gwen and Gloria, this is a two-way street. You have to be willing, Gloria, to speak to Gwen the hard things. Gwen, you have to be willing to listen and hear.
Right.
And conversely, the opposite is true.
Yeah.
That not only do you have to be willing to receive it, but you also have to be willing to step up and speak truth in love.
Well, here's the thing. A lot of friendships end because of this very thing.
They do. I agree. I've even had some friendships end in my life due to this, unfortunately. but-
Right. And I'll tell you, early on in my life, if somebody said or did something that, I didn't want to go there, avoid and ignore and run the other way.
Right.
I'm done with you.
Right.
Right. It was just easier for me.
Right.
So it has to be that place of not only speaking, but being willing to receive. That teachable spirit is huge.
Yes, it is.
Huge in all things. I mean, think about how that carries over into your workplace, into marriage. Accountability was all women at the table, but believe it or not, it wasn't just my husband that was wrong, you know?
Really, Beth?
I know it's so hard to believe. But he had some things to speak to me, too, and I had to be in a place to listen. And I learned that at the table with good female friends so that I could take that into our marriage. But yeah, it's huge. I'm so excited to be at the table with two people who are learning this beauty of that friend who, better the wounds of a friend than the kisses of an enemy.
That's just the verse we just read right before you walked into the studio.
There we go.
Hey, we are on the same page here
Yeah,
for sure.
it's true. It's true.
Well, and you know what comes to mind for me is that there's a Bible verse where God says, or it's said of God, you require truth in our inmost being. And I think you have to have the truth inside in order for the friendship to be authentic and truthful. Because you can't do authentic and truthful if you're lying to yourself, or
Right.
if you're not aware of yourself, or you lack that maturity to go there.
Well, and you have to have a foundation of truth, not just my truth. I hate those words. Your truth, my truth.
Right. Right. I don't like 'em
No,
either.
God's truth.
Right. Yeah.
God's truth. God's truth is all of our truth. It's not just my truth or yours. Without that foundation, you really don't have a firm place to stand on. And here's the other thing about this vulnerability in the accountability room. It allows that same vulnerability and standing on truth to happen in our families. Now, you would think it would start first in your families, but I don't think it does.
I don't think it does either. I think that's the scariest place to be.
I agree.
Authentic.
I agree.
Boy, that's really profound, but I bet that is very, very true, and I bet you it resonates with a lot of our listeners.
Yeah.
And that is the place you should be able to be authentic, right?
Right. Right. However, family members, it's like love is total agreement. Total. If you don't agree with me, you're not accepting me.
Right.
You hate me. No, I just don't agree with you. But we can still love one another and journey through life, even not agreeing.
Agree to disagree.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I think.
Well, and even beyond that, whether this is, as you were saying, Gloria, you and Gwen may not agree on something. If it's a child-parent relationship, it's a little tougher, I think, in the marriage. But if someone decides to do something that you don't agree with, they still get to make the choice. So,
Correct.
so true love allows them to make the choice.
Yeah.
You speak the truth in love, and if you have opportunity, you speak, you give whatever wisdom that you feel the Lord has given you. But in the end, you love that person, continue to love that person, even if they're
And-
going over a cliff. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
And you
Right.
stay in relationship.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that's been one of the coolest things with her is that, she's in this as much as I am. And so it feels like we meet each other, right? I don't overgive, she doesn't overgive. It's just a mutual thing. Like I enjoy her as much as she enjoys me.
Yeah.
And that's so nice because I mean, my profession, I think I intimidate people. Honestly,
It is a little tough to sit at the table with you sometimes, but you rethink your words like, okay, well,
And she's managed to keep pace with me.
yeah,
We're the
And she's
same
not
height.
intimidated.
there you go.
But I love that,
Yeah.
because that's such a treasure. And, I think even there's probably been moments where, I don't know. I just have noticed that she just keeps pace with me really well. And she doesn't let me bulldoze over her, and I don't have to worry about that. And she holds her own.
Well, I'm late to the conversation, so tell me, when did this friendship begin? How did this friendship begin?
It was our freshman year because that's when I first went to Garaway High School.
Okay. And see, I always think it was middle school. I don't know why, but I just,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Literally since our freshman year. I mean, that's where it began. It's where it blossomed. I remember spending the night at Gwen's house, and I didn't know the Lord in high school. So it wasn't till the end of school. Actually, I think I might have been even graduated.
I remember we had a lot of conversations.
We did.
And I remember feeling like I needed to be very careful to answer accurately and well whenever those conversations came up.
It's crazy, like looking back in my life, how God has planted people in my life to speak to me and to lead me toward Him. It's really neat. Gwen was one of those people, and I think that was Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons we are here today. So, friendship's still going strong, and
I just had a relatively new acquaintance speak something into my life just last week that continues to reverberate in me. She's an educator. She's very well educated, and she teaches literature. So she's
Articulate.
So she's someone that could intimidate me easily, because remember that word that Satan constantly gives me is uneducated, and so to sit in a room full of people who have the letters after their names can be intimidating for me. But God has strengthened me through all of that. But this gal. We were reading a book. It was in our radical mentoring group, and yes, it's true. She's an editor, right? So she found some errors in this book, but the content of the book is beautiful. But her lesson to us that night, and she's part of the classroom. She's not the facilitator or leader. She's just part of the classroom. She said, I was reminded of, I believe she said, a stand of aspen trees. She said, an aspen tree, the roots. They all entangle and work through each other, and they end up being part of the support system for other aspen trees. And she said, what I realized in this chapter was sometimes we can be right next to that other person, maybe in a family dynamic or a work dynamic, and for whatever reason, we can't come alongside, but we don't have to worry about them, because in that stand of aspen trees, in God's family, there are others who are coming alongside, and their roots are entangling and giving support. And that's what I'm hearing you two talk about. That deep rootedness, and Gwen helped you stand tall in the environment of high school. So many, without you even realizing that you were maybe a tree that wasn't real deep rooted. But that's what we do for each other. That's community, and that's how God works it out in God's family. He brings people into our lives to strengthen us and help us stand tall.
Well, it is time to end the day, believe it or not. What a great day we've had, and what a wonderful time we've had talking about God's gift of friendship. We're going to continue that conversation, so be back with us tomorrow here in the Circle of Friends.
This program was brought to you through the generous support of donors and listeners like you. To contact Circle of Friends Ministries, you can write to P.O. Box 345, Berlin, Ohio, 44610, or find us on Facebook at circleoffriends.fm. Program archives can be found at thelight959.com.